still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Brian Giles with Brian Giles MTG, and we're back with more Modern Horizons 3 spoilers. So, ho-ha. First up is Glaring Fleshraker, a Colossal 2 for a 2/2 Eldrazi drone. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, create a 0/1 Eldrazi spawn creature token with sacrifice this creature to add a colorless. Whenever another colorless creature enters the battlefield under your control, Glaring Fleshraker deals 1 damage to each opponent. Damn! So not only does this thing poop out Eldrazi spawn tokens, but whenever any colorless creature enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So poops out an Eldrazi spawn token and deals 1 damage to an opponent. This thing could be evil. And it's a decent price. You get good value out of it. I don't see downsides with that. Now, this is Wastegate Battle Mages. We have seen this earlier, but it was, this is in the untranslated version. So, Wastegate Battle Mage is a colorless 1 for a 2/2 Eldrazi wizard with a kicker of a green and or a kicker of a blue and 1. If you kicked it with the green, you can exile an artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. If you kicked it with the blue and 1, you can bounce a creature an opponent controls back to their hand. So, hoo-ha. Next up is Arena of Glory. This is another one of the, I guess you call them the Arena lands. So it enters the battlefield taps unless you control a mountain. And you can pay a red and tap it and exert it, which means it won't untap next turn, to add 2 red mana. If it was spent a creature spell, it gains haste. We have Cursed Wombat. So, a black and a green for a 2/3 Nightmare Wombat. With it has for a black, a green, and 2. It has adapt 2. Permanents you control, whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on this permanent, put an additional +1/+1 counter on its ability triggers only once each turn. So it seems like there's some sort of Golgari +1/+1 counter type of synergy going on, and this guy really leans into it. You get a lot of value for 2 mana, and you can put some counters on it later for 4 mana. So it sounds like fun. Okay, now we're having some creatures that are going to be in the Eldrazi Commander deck. First up is Eldrazi Confluence, which is 2 colorless and 2 for instant it reads. You may choose the same mode more than once. Choose 3 of them. For 4 mana, you choose 3 of these, and you can choose the same mode more than once. Target creature gets +3, -3 till end of turn. Exile target non-land permanent, then return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. Blink. Or create a 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion creature token with sacrifice this creature to add a colorless. So that's just disgusting. That's crazy. Next up is Ulamog's Dreadsire. 10 mana for a 10/10 Eldrazi with Vigilance. With wards, sacrifice a permanent with mana value 1 or greater. Tap it to create a 10/10 colorless Eldrazi creature token. Dude, you do not want this hitting the battlefield. This thing, you can tap it to poop out 10/10 creatures. Ugly! Next up, we have Twins of Discord. 7 mana for an 8/6 Eldrazi. If you attack, choose odd or even. Creatures with mana value of that quality can't block this turn. Each other colorless creature you control has Bloodthirst too. I don't remember the specifics on Bloodthirst. It was in an era again where I was out of Magic, so please remind me in the comments what Bloodthirst does. Got Spawn Bed Protector for 7 mana. You get a 6/8 Eldrazi at the beginning of your end step or turn, up to one target Eldrazi creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And then create 2 colorless, 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion creature tokens with sacrifice this creature to and add a colorless. Ew. Ew. That's just ugly all the way around. Next up, this spell is entirely powerful. This is Selective Obliteration. Listen to what it does. It's 2 colorless and 3 for a sorcery that reads, each player chooses a color. Then exile each permanent unless it's colorless or it's the only color its controller chose. So you choose a color and you get rid of each permanent. That includes lands, battles, it exiles them for 5 mana. And you only save the colorless and the ones that you've chosen. So the Eldrazi players, of course, are going to save most of their stuff. With your lands, your battles, your enchantments, your creatures, all of that just gone, unless it's colorless or the chosen color. Next up, we have Mutated Cultist. So a black and 2, you get a 1/3 Eldrazi Horror with the Void. You cast this spell, remove all counters from up to one target permanent or opponent. The next spell you cast this turn costs 1 less to cast for each counter removed this way, and it has Death Touch. Ew. That's just disgusting. Get rid of +1/+1 counters, any other type of counters. That includes counters on sagas and counters on your planeswalkers. Not fun. We have Inversion Behemoth. So 2 colorless and 2 for a 2/9. Eldrazi. At the beginning of combat on your turn, switch power and toughness of each of any number of target creatures until end of turn. Okay, well, you get switch power and toughness. With this dude, he becomes a 9/2. So hoo-ha. Then we have Angelic Aberration. This thing is nasty too. So a white and 5 for a 4/4 Eldrazi Angel with Devoid. Has flying and vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice any number of creatures with base power and toughness of 1 or less. Create that many 4/4 colorless Eldrazi Angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance. So all your little 1/1 creatures, your Eldrazi Scions, your Eldrazi Spawn tokens. Sacrifice a bunch of those and create 4/4 and turn them into 4/4 angels. For Eldrazi angels. Ew, ew, ew. Then we have Benthic Oddity. This thing is crazy too. So at a blue and 6, you get a 7/8 Eldrazi with the Void. When you cast this spell, for each opponent, choose a creature that player controls. Create a token that's a copy of one of those creatures with power equal to the total power of those creatures and the toughness equal to the total toughness of this creature, except it's a colorless Eldrazi creature token. So the idea here is you choose an opponent's creature that you want to copy, and then all your opponents, you choose a creature for each opponent. You choose creatures, and then you choose one of them that becomes a creature, but its power and toughness are equal to the total of all your opponent's creatures that you chose. That's just disgusting. You get a big, huge creature and your opponent's for, you know, yeah, that's disgusting. Then we have Chittering Dispatcher for a green and 2. You get a 2/3 Eldrazi with Devoid and Myriad. When it leaves the battlefield, create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature with sacrifice this creature to add a colorless. This thing is crazy. And of course, as you can see, it is the commander stuff, so it's designed to be for commander, and the Myriad just makes things all the way worse. So next up we have Snapping Voidcraw. So a green, a blue, and 1 for a 1/3 Eldrazi with Devoid. Tap it to add 2 colorless, or pay a colorless and 3 and tap it to draw a card. So kind of a useful little type of card for Eldrazi decks. Then we have Pinnacle Monk. Now this is a kind of a cool card. This is this is the red pay 3 or it comes into play tapped. So kind of expensive at 2 red and 3, but you get a 2/2 Jin Monk with Prowess. When it enters the battlefield, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. So you get a 2/2 Prowess creature, but you get an instant or sorcery card back from your graveyard, which you can use to boost up the prowess of the thing. So kind of useful, and of course you get the Mystic Peak on the backside, which again it enters the battlefield tapped unless you pay the 3 life, and you tap it for a red mana. Next up, we have what's being referred to as the Landscape Lands. Now, this one was the first one that was leaked, was Perilous Landscape. Comes into play untapped. You can tap it to add a colorless, or tap it and sacrifice it to look for basic island, mountain, or plains, and put it onto the battlefield taps, and then shuffle with a cycle for blue, red, white. Then we have Sheltering Landscape, which the land, tap it to add a colorless, or sacrifice it to search your library for a basic mountain, forest, or plains, and cycle it for red, green, white. We have Twisted Landscape, which is tap it to add a colorless, or sacrifice it. Tap it, sacrifice it, and look for a swamp, mountain, or forest, and cycle it for the black, red, green. We have Tranquil Landscape. Tap it to add a colorless, or tap it to search your library for forest, plains, or islands. Cycle it for a green, white, blue. We have Bountiful Landscape, which land, tap to add a colorless, or sacrifice it to look for a forest, island, or mountain, and cycle it for a green, blue, red. contaminated landscape, tap it out of colors or sacrifice it to add a plains, island, or swamp and cycle it for white, blue, black. Deceptive landscape, which is tap it out of colors or tap it and sacrifice it to look for a plains, swamp, or forest and cycle it for white, black, green. Foreboding landscape, lands, tap it out of colors or tap and sacrifice it. Search your library for a swamp, a forest, or an island and cycle it for black, green, blue. We have seeding landscape, which is land, tap for colors, or search your library for an island, a swamp, or a mountain, and cycle it for blue, black, red. And finally, shattered landscape. This will be the last card for this particular video. Is a land, your shattered landscape is a land, tap it out of colorless, or tap it and sacrifice the search your library for a mountain, or plains, or a swamp, and cycle it for red, white, or red, white, and black. So, hoo-ha, if you're playing these tricolors, it's definitely a mana fixer. It has kind of a unique cycling, for each of the colors. So I don't know how well these landscape lands are going to be received, but it's definitely feel like they're going to be slotted in the three color lands decks that have the three colors for them. So, hoo-ha, we'll see you on the next video.